friends. Welcome to Living Grace Kids. I'm so glad you could join me today. Well, we're going to begin with the time of worship, so I'll see you back here in a minute.
Zephaniah 3:17.
The Lord your God is with you, He is mighty to save. The Lord your God is with you, He is mighty to save. The Lord your God is with you, He is mighty to save. The Lord your God is with you, the Lord your God is with you. He will take great delight in you. He will quiet you with His love. He will rejoice over you with singing. Oh, the Lord your God is with you. He will take great delight in you. He will quiet you with His love. He will rejoice over you with singing. Oh, the Lord your God is with you. The Lord your God is with you. He is mighty to save. The Lord your God is with you. He is mighty to save. The Lord your God is with you. He is mighty to save. The Lord your God is with you. The Lord your God is with you. He will take great delight in you. He will quiet you with His love. He will rejoice over you with singing. Oh, the Lord your God is with you. He will take great delight in you. He will quiet you with His love. He will rejoice over you with singing. Oh, the Lord your God is with you. The Lord your God is with you. He is mighty to save. The Lord your God is with you. He is mighty to save.
It's that time. Let's get our hands ready. It's time for a memory verse. Today's verse is Proverbs 3:5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. Proverbs 3:5 and 6. Let's try it again. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. Well, what does that mean? Well, when we find ourselves in trouble or we have a problem, we're always to go to God and ask Him so that He can help us decide which path to take. So have any of you ever heard of the saying, we're all in the same boat? What does that mean? Well, it means that we're all having the same experience, or we're all in the same circumstances. Kind of like COVID, we were all stuck at home. We were all in the same boat. One night, Jesus' disciples were without Jesus that night, and they literally were in the same boat. Let's watch and see what happens.
After the great feeding of the 5,000, Jesus told His disciples to get into a boat and cross the lake, called the Sea of Galilee. "I'll meet you later," Jesus told them. It was time for Jesus to spend some time in prayer. As His disciples took the boat across the lake, Jesus went to a place where He could pray. Even though it was late at night, Jesus knew that prayer and time with God, His Father, was important. While Jesus prayed, a violent storm arose. The wind was fierce on the lake, and the disciples, rowing with all their might, weren't getting anywhere. Even though they had been on the lake for hours, they were unable to steer the boat and became frightened. At that moment, Jesus decided to come to the disciples. Since He did not have a boat, He simply started walking on the water towards them. In the middle of that terrible storm, Jesus walked calmly as the crushing waves roared from all sides. As the lightning flashed and the rain pelted them, The disciples looked around in confusion, wondering what to do. And then they saw something on the water. Could it be someone walking on the water? "It's a ghost!" they screamed in terror. Every one of the disciples in the boat was terrified. "Take heart. It's me," Jesus replied cheerfully. "Don't be afraid." He walked confidently toward the trembling disciples who were huddling in the wind-swept, wave-beaten boat. Then Peter answered, "If it's you, command me to come to you on the water." Peter knew that Jesus had control over all the elements, even the weather. "Come," Jesus replied. So Peter began to climb out of the boat and stepped into the water. He was doing it. He was walking on the water. He could hardly believe what was happening. But then Peter shifted his attention away from Jesus and onto the storm. He felt the sting of the strong wind. He looked at the motion of the wild waves, and then he plunged down into the water. "Lord, save me!" Peter yelled. Quickly, Jesus grabbed Peter and pulled him back, helping him into the boat. Jesus looked at his disciples. "Why do you have so little faith? Why do you doubt so easily?" Jesus asked. Then Jesus stepped into the boat himself, and right away, the night became calm. The air went still. Not even a hint of the terrible wind and storm they had experienced. The disciples in the boat were astonished. Their terror was gone, and they started worshiping Jesus. "Truly, you are the Son of God," they whispered in adoration.
So what's the big idea? Keep your eyes on Jesus. So I want you to imagine that you're on a boat at night during a storm, and the waves in the sea are roaring. And then you look and you see someone walking towards you. You think it's a ghost, but as that person gets closer, you see it's Jesus. Then I want you to imagine that Jesus calls your name and says, "Come to me, get out of the boat and walk." Could you do it? If you said no, that you doubt that you could do that, you're right. We can't. But if you said, "Yes, I have faith that Jesus would help me do that," you're right. He would. You see, only when Peter took his eyes off of Jesus did he doubt and sink. When we have problems and we look at the problem and not at God, our faith falls, it sinks. But when we keep our eyes on Jesus and we ask him for help and don't look at that problem, our faith grows. Dear Jesus, we give you honor and glory and praise. Nothing is impossible for you. Please forgive me of my sins and help me to be more like you every day. Help me to always come to you when I need help, and I know you will always be there for me. And please bless my friends and my family this week. I love you so much. It's in your name I pray. Amen. Well, that's it for this week. Don't forget, your activities are down in the description box. Parents, the QR code will take you to your family weekly devotional, and you can find us at LGE Church on Facebook. I will see you next week. Goodbye.